Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over why some women actually realize and regret leaving a good man. And I'm also going to make the reason why some men actually regret leaving a good woman. And so I'm going to make both. But today, we're going to talk about why some women regret leaving a good man. And the very first reason is what I think is the most common, but let me know if you guys have ever experienced this or seen this. She actually discovers that the grass is not greener on the other side, right? And so maybe she has something that she likes, but she's taking it for granted, or she thinks that she could get better somewhere. I see that a lot where she might think maybe she's unhappy with certain things, which in relationships, there's always things that we want a little bit better. I am in a relationship, a long-term one, and there are things that I wish that he could do or would do. And same with him to me. We talk about it, right? He can be annoying sometimes. I can be annoying sometimes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I think overall he's not somebody that I want to be with. He is, and vice versa, right? But a lot of people, what they do is they get tunnel vision on specifically what they don't have. And it causes them to have a very askew negative version of what the reality is. So, for example, let's say your partner, whoever this person is, let's say she wishes that he would be more, I don't know, they would go on more dates, right? I think that's a really common one, right? And maybe she's asked him and maybe he's not totally receptive or he's trying, but it's not as receptive as she would like. But in general, maybe he's a really good guy. He cares for her. He provides stability. He respects her. They respect each other. They've been together for a long time. And overall, he's a very consistent guy. But maybe she's looking for excitement or passion, which is not typically, that doesn't necessarily need to be required for long-term relationship. There is research on that where relationships that are more stable and loving, and one of the more common aspects to a long-term healthy relationship is actually having stability instead of just looking for like passion or excitement, right? But maybe she wants that passion or excitement. She wants those dates. She wants that, romance, and that's fine. You can ask, but maybe it's not what she's wanting, and she's not realizing she's just looking for something that might not be achievable in a healthy relationship, at least not all the time, right? Sometimes there's give and take. And so she might actually be looking outside of that relationship or leave this man for somebody who might give her more excitement, freedom, or passion without realizing that sometimes that doesn't always have to be the best option for you. She might not be treated well out there when she goes back into the dating scene. She might not find somebody who actually respects her, or she might not find someone who's responsive, or he's only exciting, but that's all he has, right? And so sometimes she might come running back to that guy that she left originally that we were talking about. This is just an example, because she realizes what she had. And unfortunately, I see this a lot. I'm a therapist. I see a lot of things. And I'm sure you guys have seen it too, where she discovers that she probably should have stayed. And maybe it's too late. Like maybe he's moved on or he just doesn't want her anymore. And that happens. The next one I think is kind of interesting. I see this a lot. Now, I don't know if you guys will see it as much because I see couples a lot. And so I'm going to see this more often. A lot of men who I think are very decent, really good men, who I think really love their partner, love their wives, and they treat her really well, he handles conflict pretty well. Whereas I notice men who don't care as much, or they might not handle conflict as well, or at least they don't even try. Sometimes it's not always the case. Sometimes conflict is just something he struggles with. A lot of men do struggle with conflict. It's not a bad thing. But a lot of times women don't realize how nice it is to have a partner who can at least handle conflict maturely. He's not saying anything bad, or he's not, cursing or anything, which a lot of people don't want to curse in general to their partner. Some people do by accident. But she might recognize it's pretty rare, to be honest, to have a man who doesn't try and even manipulate. Or a lot of people are like this, unfortunately. They're trying to manipulate or get their way, or they just don't know how to resolve conflict. And instead, she might have a partner who's actually very calm, holds himself accountable. He doesn't really want the drama. He's more resolution oriented. That's really good. And it's also really healthy. Man or woman, you want that in a person. That's a very healthy characteristic. And you can build that together as a couple. But it's really nice to have somebody who's already like that or who's working towards that, right? And she might not realize that's not easy to get. It takes a long time to build those skills. And he's probably been through a lot to get there. And so instead of appreciating, how good he is and how decent of a man he has become as a person, she may not realize what she has, and she's left this guy for maybe somebody who doesn't have those skills, and she might not be treated as well. And that's only when she realizes maybe this guy that she left, she shouldn't have left, right? The next one is actually, she might have been immature. And we all have been immature at one point. I know I have. I know everybody has, right? I'm definitely more mature than I used to be. And I know this, and everybody knows this, right? Even me and my partner, when we first started dating, we were younger. I was even more, he's older than I am, and I was quite young in comparison. And so I definitely had moments where I was more immature, and I learned. But sometimes what happens is maturity actually brings a new perspective. So this is number 3, right? With time and personal growth, she actually might understand what she thought were deal breakers were actually minor, right? And I see this so much. Thankfully, I never had this issue, but I do see this so often. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I actually think it's because some people are stuck on social media a lot. Interesting enough, even though I make YouTube videos, I'm not a person who's stuck on social media. My private account is my private Instagram or whatever is very small numbers. I keep it private. But I think what I notice is a lot of folks, both genders, right? I'm not picking on one. A lot of times we think things are deal breakers that are actually not that big of a deal breaker, right? A deal breaker for some people is cheating. That's normal. But maybe it's not such a deal breaker if he's not the best texter. It depends on your personality, but sometimes people don't realize what really is. And she might have left him because of something that's a deal breaker at that time. But now that she's more mature, she realizes it's not such a deal breaker. And so she might recognize she'd prefer loyalty, kindness, and long-term compatibility, which her previous partner offered, okay? The next one is unmatched emotional safety, or undeniable, or how do I even describe it? Uncompromisable. Emotional safety, to which it's very hard to find emotional safety. And typically it's built when you're together for a very long time and you grew together as a couple, you worked really hard, and you can't find that a lot. It's very, very uncommon. And so that emotional safety that she got from somebody, sadly, a lot of women experience a lot of, violence in relationships, a lot of unhealthy situations. And sometimes we have to think logically as a woman, as anybody, a lady needs to think, is this person safe for me? Is it good to be in a situation where I'm with someone who won't hurt me, right? This is a normal thing. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but sometimes ladies don't do that. And they end up in situations with men who are very unavailable, maybe mistreating them. Maybe he has even a rap sheet of something. I don't know, right? And so she's not thinking about that emotional safety, whereas her previous partner gave her that, but she didn't see it like that until she learned her lesson with somebody else that ended up hurting her. And now she realizes, wow, that person previously had so much emotional safety that I missed out on that, right? The next one is, I see this a lot. People evolve, right? So the next one that we're going to talk about is that he actually grew into the man she's always wanted, which means that she left, I guess, preemptively, where she could have just been a little bit more patient. He actually did turn out to be exactly what she was waiting for. And she could have just waited and stayed, but now he's more successful. Maybe he's more confident. Maybe he's more emotionally intelligent. And now he's with somebody who he feels can appreciate him. And so she might see that and realize, oh, if I only waited, I could have been that girl that he got married to, or he could have, we could have been together if only I had appreciated his journey. And so sometimes what happens is a lot of times people leave somebody before they're, really who they're supposed to be. And that can be difficult. But at the same time, maybe someone would have appreciated him, which is why maybe the breakup was good for him. But she can reflect and learn, okay, I do regret leaving him for that reason, right? Because now maybe she can't find that, at least not right away. And she had that. She just could have waited. The next one is loneliness. A lot of people realize once the initial excitement of independence or a new relationship fades, she actually recognizes that she's actually pretty empty and lonely. And she misses that comfort of companionship who genuinely cared for her, and she genuinely cared for him. She just let her feelings her fleeting emotions get in the way of her. And then the last one is that she actually realized he truly cared. And when she's dating a lot of these different folks, she realizes a lot of these people don't really love her or value her. They're just here for very superficial or specific reasons, where her ex, the man that she left, actually treated her quite well. And so I think these are pretty important reasons as to why some women actually regret leaving a good man. And if you are that person who has left a good man, I don't want you to beat yourself up. I'm not making fun of you. If anything, if you want to get back with him, try and win him back if that's an opportunity for you and he's single. But also, if this is you, you can learn so that you don't do it again with the next guy, because hopefully you'll get an opportunity again, but just don't make that mistake again. And for a man, if this is your situation, sometimes if a person can't see you for who you are and how valuable you are, maybe it is best that there's somebody out there who can see your value without having to learn a lesson. Or if she comes back, welcome her back, but hold her to a certain standard, or appreciate that if she crosses these boundaries again, maybe you're gone for good, because you want to make this relationship work, and I can appreciate that, but you want to make sure that you're also respecting yourself, okay? I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.